Welcome back. You're watching India Inc. Been a banker and now an entrepreneur is the profile of Sid Mathur. Lived maximum of his life in London, but now exactly knows the taste buds of his Indian customers. He's the food director of Impresario. Let's hear from him the tasteful bit of being an entrepreneur.
My name is Sid Mathur. I am the food director with Impresario and a partner with the group. I lived in London for most of my younger life, and I moved there when I was 2 years old. I spent about 12 years in London. Early 90s, I actually moved back to Delhi and decided to become a banker. That was the aim at that point, become a private banker. I spent 8 years, almost 9 years in the private banking industry, out of which I spent about 3 or 4 years in Delhi, and then I moved to London. I moved back again to London, and I spent close to 4.5 years in London. It's really exciting. I mean, for me, I thought it would be a little tough because I think once you get used to being a professional, everything happens very meticulously for you. And also your salary, your bonus, everything is more or less, you have a good idea of what's going to happen. Whereas when you get into business, then you could spend 2 years without getting 1 rupee. Because it's an investment in your business, an investment into the future of that business. I mean, it's a 24-hour commitment, the food business. So you cannot afford to do it, while you're doing something else, because then 99% you will fail. So when this happened, I thought, okay, I'm going to take 2 years and I'm going to go back to Delhi. I'm going to try and open a restaurant of my own. And if it doesn't happen, then I'll join back. And I think just in terms of, work ethics, there's a big difference between Europe and over here. Over there's a lot more sort of importance given to you, given to your health, your well-being. Please don't work on weekends. I mean, just small things. You're given a lot more understanding from your bosses and so on and so forth. Whereas over here, it's like you're kind of slave to the grind, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's good, I guess, because we progress a lot faster. But I don't have much experience in terms of educational experience in the hotel business. I had an instinct about food. I had an instinct about menus or and so on and so forth. So I think it was like I was a natural fit to the business. But yes, definitely. I mean, if you have a hospitality background, it's a huge advantage for sure. As a group, I can tell you it's a true story. We actually, Riaz and 2 other partners started the company with 5 lakhs each. So they put in 15 lakhs together in 2001 and opened the very first mocha cafe in Bombay. And that was about just over a decade ago. And today we are valued at about 200 crores, the company itself. And we have about 33 restaurants across 11 different cities. The move from professional to an entrepreneur, I think one thing was that steady income. That guaranteed check, that guaranteed bonus or whatever, up to a certain point, what you were going to get. Your bills were paid for, everything. And then you move back here and then you invest into a company. So till the time that, the restaurant is getting ready or till the time that, it starts generating incomes, you're basically on zero income. And I think that was for me a little bit difficult to relate to, because I was so used to everything being so timely and all my bills being paid for me that suddenly I was asking myself, okay, so do I have to wait 3 months, do I have to wait 6 months, do I have to wait 9 months, will it be a year before I get any income or dividends or distribution from this company? So I think that for me was the only part which was, it wasn't only tough, but it was also difficult to wrap your mind around. Our industry in particular is growing like leaps and bounds. At the moment, we do about 50,000 crores worth of sales value from the restaurant business in India. There's about 8 million people employed, which is looking to double in the next 4 years. So I think there's a tremendous scope. The future of the restaurant business in this country is very, very bright. You see, competition we believe competition is very good. It brings out the best in everybody. And honestly, as I mentioned, people are getting I mean, the people are going out a lot more often. You know, right now you'll be surprised if I tell you that the average Indian household person, in the average Indian goes out on average once in 7 weeks. So I think there's a lot of scope, and you know, at the moment we're not even close to getting saturated in terms of restaurants. So there's enough business for everybody. I think it's accepting. I think, you know, there's reward for innovation. There's reward for doing the right thing. And you know, I think one thing that sometimes restaurateurs do, especially people who are new, is that they start with something and then they kind of let go a little bit, or they're not, you know, you cannot do that. You cannot take your eye off the ball. You know, you have to be consistent. You have to put your heart out there. But I think if you have a good product, you know, if it comes from your heart, if there's something which is even just one thing that you sell in your shop which is just delicious and you get it right, you know, there's scope. There's tremendous scope. I'm doing my hobby. You know, when I used to be a private banker, and I used to go home and I finished my day, I would open my laptop and I would look at food blogs, I would look at recipes, I would look at, you know, ideas. I would think of where do I want to go and eat, and that was my obsession. That was my, you know, my hobby. That what I love to do, what I love to read about endlessly, you know, and now I actually do it for a living. So I think, I mean, it's a really old saying, but if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, and I think that's really, really my job profile. Any part of being a partner or being involved with a group is that, you know, there's certain returns which are, you know, like salary based or whatever, but there is an investment in the company, and that is you invest in growth. You invest in the growth of that company. But I'm very pleased with the way that we're going. We've grown so much in just the 2 years that I've joined. We've grown tremendously. You know, we're right now today we're in the process of opening about 6 different restaurants across the countries. Do your homework. You know, make sure you know what you're getting into. Be consistent. Understand what you're getting into, and don't think that nothing can replace hard work. I think that's also a key. You know, like, you have to work hard at anything you do. You know, I mean, even for me, I mean, I love doing what I do, but I work very hard. I mean, I work 7 days a week, as I mentioned to you. So even on a Sunday, I'll go and meet a supplier, or I'll go for a meeting, or I'll do a food trial and try 30 dishes in a day. You know, I mean, so it's just never ending. But you just be committed, and I think that's the key. 100% absolutely go for it. You know, I think give yourself an amount of time, an amount of money, you know, that you're willing to, you know, dedicate and spend towards your goal. And you know, I think you should set some basic parameters for yourself. And when you go out of your comfort, you know, zone, then, you know, you can go back. But I think you got to give it everything you got. And many stories have started with nothing. You know, I mean, today many successes in many businesses, not only the restaurant business, have started with you know, people either, you know, just committed completely, and money is not an issue, but that idea, or that, you know, the willpower to see it through is important. Well, you know, basically, I mean, I'll tell you something about the sector itself. You know, at the moment, broadly, the restaurant business is in 2 sectors. There's an organized and there's unorganized. The organized is where we are right now, sitting in a restaurant which is licensed, which is done its due diligence. We've got, you know, food controls, food regulations, and so on and so forth. And then you have your dhabas, your roadside eateries, and, you know, and actually those guys, the unorganized sector, are 80% of the market right now, and we are about 16 to 20%. Those guys are growing at about 5 to 7%. The organized sector now, I mean, of course, picking up and where we are today, is growing at about 20 to 25%. You know, so there's a huge difference. And this 16 to 20% of the organized sector actually give 80% of the sales value of the total industry. You know, so you can see the trend is going to slowly shift, and I think that the business is going to grow. But I would say for an average sized restaurant in an organized sector, if you do it in 18 months, fantastic.
Certainly enticed in all of us to own our very own restaurant. It's time now to take a piece of advice from those who know it all, for those who want to know it all.